Good morning, or good afternoon, good day, whatever it is. John Baxter here to entertain you for an hour. And we will get started in a minute. Just have to get my bearings here. John Baxter, folks. You know, I wanted to talk a little bit about the banks. My friend told me 60 years ago they're nothing but legalized gangsters. We bailed them out a couple of years ago, correct? And the first thing they did out of the bailout money was give themselves big bonuses. You forget that? Well, now look what's happening with the people that, through no fault of their own, got laid off. No jobs. They got mortgages. You think the bank's going to worry about them? You think the government, did Congress do anything yet to stop them from foreclosing on those people? It's no fault that the people got laid off. This is a catastrophe. And it's been a terrible catastrophe all the way down, right from Congress. And Mitch McConnell, when I saw that man get up, he's the leader of the Senate, turtle-faced Mitch McConnell, he gets up and he says, we can't give them $600 a week. They won't go back to work. Where would they go back to work, Mr. McConnell? Where? Do you know any place that could go to work? Where are the jobs? They're laying off people every week. Good Lord above. We got a Congress and a Senate that's, they're out in left field somewhere. They're neglecting the American people while they're catering to the very wealthy. The wealthy never made so much money in this pandemic. It's a disgrace. Disgusting. The guy that runs Amazon or whatever, he made $11 billion in 1 hour. Billion. That distribution of the wealth, that's not fair. I don't care. He worked his way up into it and all that. There's got to be some... the wealthy's taking everything. They're taking it all. And I better get singing a song, right? Well, I'm going to look for one now. I'm always coming in not prepared, but who wants to be prepared anyway? That wouldn't look right if I was prepared, right? We have to look like the jerks we actually are. I'm going to do one for you now, and it's called, let me make sure I've been putting them together and leaving out one page and missing a page and not doing it the way I'm supposed to do it, folks. This one is called The Boys of the Old Brigade. It's a rebel song. That's what I do here. I do Irish, country, American folk music, and country western music. That's what I've been doing all my life. Until about maybe 25 years ago, I stopped doing it altogether, and I really went cold. And this thing what I'm doing now, this 1 hour a day, really rejuvenated me a lot and brought me back into the music and did a lot for me. So I really thank you people. Without you, I wouldn't be doing it. Because you keep... When I started this first, I thought, oh, you know what? Maybe I'll do it for a week. I'll do it the first time. One day. See what happens. And a lot of people liked it, so I did it another day. More people liked it. I did it another day and another day. And today is my 130... Wait a minute. I'm losing track. My 135th day today. I started April the 2nd. Father dear, why you're so sad on this bright Easter morn? When Irishmen are proud and glad of the land where they were born. Son, I see a vision far, far off distant day, when being just a lad like you, I joined the IRA. Where are the lads who stood with me when history was made? Oh, Bromacree, I long to see the boys of the old brigade. Hills and farms the call of arms was heard by one and all, and from that land came brave young men to answer Ireland's call. It was long ago we faced the foe, the old brigade and me, and by my side they fought and they died, that all Ireland might be free. Where are the lads who stood with me when history was made? Oh, Bromacree, I long to see the boys of the old brigade. Now, my boy, I told you why on Easter morn I sigh, for I recall my comrades all of dark old days gone by. I think of men who fought in the glen with rifles and grenades. May heavens keep the men who sleep from the ranks of the old brigade. Where are the lads who stood with me when history was made? Oh, Bromacree, I long to see the boys of the old brigade. Oodly, 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 oodly. Somewhere like that. Moving along, folks. We're doing good. Yeah, I saw Joe Biden and Kamala Harris yesterday. Very good. I thought they were very good. They came out. Joe Biden made a very important speech. Very important. I hope the people listen to it. There is no need for American dying every 80 seconds. That's the way it is today, folks. Every day, 80 seconds. Can you imagine? Can you imagine 80 seconds an American dies? There's nothing anywhere close to that in the entire world. India with, 3 times as many people as America, 2.5 times, whatever. And China with 3 to 4 times as many. There's nothing like that there. Nothing. Why is it there? Why is it like that? Because Trump thinks he's some kind of a god and it's magically just going to go away. I told you it went away. Oh, what an idiot. Wow, what an idiot. We got an idiot of a president, but our idiot of a president is murdering an American every 82nd because he failed to take action. People forget, don't they? Obama had a whole entire crew in place, scientists, doctors, because they knew years ago that this was coming and they prepared for it. And of course, as soon as Trump went into office, his total outrage and jealousy of Obama overwhelmed him. And he spent most of his time trying to destroy everything that Obama did. And he took those doctors and scientists and fired them all. You know, he thought he was back in a show on Broadway or something. What's that show he was on? I never watched The Idiot because that's what he is in my book, a total idiot. But when you start killing people to the tune of one every 80 seconds, I think it's time to do something. And I'm getting pedo at Congress. What are they doing? Waiting for him to get voted out? How many people will die between now and then? And this coronavirus is only getting started, for God's sake. It's in about a fourth inning of a 9-inning game. The worst is yet to come. And now while I'm at it, I might as well tell you about my book. Ha ha. And I forgot to turn the phone the right way again. Oh my God. I wonder if I could do it on the air. Let me try it. Listen. This is the whole thing is an experiment all around anyway, so what's the difference? Okay, let me see what's going on here. Toes down in there. Okay, I think we got it. Do we have it? Maybe. It took me 6 months to learn the damn thing. And I think I got it. All of a sudden, I'm a right-handed player, right? That's the way it is. In the meantime, I put my set off kilter, but I can get that back very easily. John Baxter here. Don't expect anything but total craziness on this show from me, because but I think you can believe me a little more than we can believe our president. He has already told, 22,000 or something like that. They call them blatant lies. I'm pretty sure it's the Washington Post that keeps track of that. Can you imagine telling that many, 22,000, in a little more than 3 years? When is he telling the truth, for God's sake? Facebook and YouTube won't even put his ads on the air because they're all lies. Oh my. Come on, folks. Come on, please. You might be a Trump lover, but wake the hell up. Do you want American dying every 80 seconds? That's what you got in America. A disgrace to the world. A disgrace. This is not America. This is not a normal planet anymore with this kind of stuff going on. There's no need for it, folks. There is no need for this. If Andrew Cuomo on his own, along with the governor of New Jersey and the governor of Connecticut, could bring the highest concentration of coronavirus in the world, was in New York State, and that's a fact. Look it up. And what did Cuomo do with the governor of New Jersey and Connecticut? He got them together. And now they are almost eradicated coronavirus altogether. And they're so afraid that the rest of the country's doing nothing. Or all the Republican, the governors of the states, all those Republican states are got the highest concentration of coronavirus, even though Trump, with his lies, tries to twist it and make it the other way. Look what happened in Florida. If you know anything at all about Florida, just look what happened there with the governor that's Republican. What's happening there, folks? Come on now. Everybody got relatives or somebody in Florida. Where was I here? There's a guy dying in prison, and he's asking the priest, I think it's the priest, I have to do the song to see if it was the priest or his father. A couple of questions, here they are. In a dreary Brixton prison, where an Irish rabble lay, by his side a priest was standing, ere his soul should pass away. As he faintly murmured, Father, as he clasped him by the hand, tell me this before I die, shall my soul pass through Ireland? Shall my soul pass through old Ireland and through Cork City grand? Shall I see that old cathedral where St. Patrick took his stand? Shall I see that little chapel where I pledged my heart and hand? Tell me this before I die, shall my soul pass through Ireland? 'Twas for loving dear old Ireland, in this prison cell I lie. 'Twas for loving dear old Ireland, in this foreign land I die. Will you meet my little daughter? Will you make her understand? Tell me this before I die, shall my soul pass through Ireland? Shall my soul pass through old Ireland, pass through Cork City grand? Shall I see that old cathedral where St. Patrick took his stand? Shall I see that little chapel where I pledged my heart and hand? Tell me this before I die, shall my soul pass through Ireland? With a heart as pure as a lily, and his body sanctified, in this dreary British prison, our brave Irish rebel died. Prayed the priest his wish he granted, and in blessings raised his hand. Tell me this before I die, shall my soul pass through Ireland? Shall my soul pass through old Ireland, pass through Cork City grand? Shall I see that old cathedral where St. Patrick took his stand? Shall Well, I see that little chapel where I pledge my heart and hand. Tell me this before I die. Shall my soul pass through Ireland? Yeah, shall my soul pass through Ireland? The greatest country in the world, folks, and look what's happening to it. Look what this man, one man, has done to it. And in the process, trying to convince his herd, or whatever you call them, his followers, his tribe, whatever, and he's trying to convince them that it's all the Democrats' fault. Oh, they did what did they do? You were and are living in the greatest country in the world. What was so wrong about what was happening before him? Nothing. He created it. He created that. There was no such a thing as blaming one party for anything until he came along. And incidentally, did you know that it's just lately he became a Republican? He was a Democrat all his life. What all of a sudden he decides to be a Republican? And they're the party that's going to save everybody? Look, there's nothing wrong with the Republican Party. We need two parties. The Republican Party is good, and so are the Democrats. And we need that in America. He's going to throw that whole thing off balance. Watch. Because a lot of people they're not going to vote for Republicans in the fall. They're going to lose everything. It's obvious. The polls can't be wrong. And what is this thing with the post office? Isn't that the most important organization, so to speak, in America? One of the most important. It delivers our mail on time. Nobody has complained about the post office till he complained about it. What was wrong with it? He's got to fire everybody and put in his own men with an election coming up. And as far as voting by mail, I believe there's 5 states already doing it for years. No complaints. It's the most safest and securest way of voting. He don't want it because he can't control it. He can't take the precincts and close them down, the polling places, so people can't get to vote. You see, his power has been taken away from him when everybody wants to vote by mail. And they want to vote by mail simply because the tactics that he was doing. You can't let that go on. I wish that his followers would really stop and take a better look and save America instead of continuing to destroy it with a character like this in office. Because that's what's happening, folks. We are destroying America. Yeah, folks. Yeah, well, anyway, we have to get on with a song, right? Of course. The Men Behind the Wire. That was popular, 30, 40 years ago. Long time ago. Arm in arm and tanks and guns. Wrong key, folks. This is what happens on the now. You see, how many mistakes? I'm talking about Trump. How about me? Making so many mistakes already today. Incidentally, I just learned And a fella went through a lot of time explaining to me, and it was simpler than I ever thought. And he wrote it down on a piece of paper how to change the camera when you're on the air. That it's not, you're not playing with the left hand instead of the right hand. You know what I mean? He went through all that, and I never looked at it. I said, no, this is too complicated. He wrote and he wrote and he wrote. And then when my granddaughter came over and she went through it with me once, because I had learned certain things since, you know. And 1, 2, 3, it was so simple. And here I am all along, doing it the wrong way. Maybe I shouldn't talk about Trump. Stick to what you're doing and do it right. Right, John? Yeah, that's it. But you know what? John Lewis, the great civil rights leader that got almost killed on the Pettit Bridge. I don't even know how to pronounce that bridge. But he was the one that phased. If you see something, do something. And they stole it from him. He was the one that penned that. He was the originator of it. Like Joe Louis, you know, Joe Louis he was the great heavyweight champ of years gone by. To say he couldn't read or write, I don't know if that's true or not, but he was a very, very great champion. And one of his sayings was, you can run, but you can't hide. That's when Billy Conn, a light heavyweight, had him beat for 13 rounds in a row. And all he had to do was run, because in them days there were 15 rounders. And all he had to do was run away for 2 rounds. No, I'm going to go in and I'm going to beat Lewis. Yeah, right. Well, he found out that you're not going to duke it out with the heavyweight champ, Joe Louis. And he knocked him out in the 13th round, I believe. He had won every single round. Look at the record. I think he had won every. Yeah, I mean he was way, way, way ahead in the fight. He was definitely going to be the next heavyweight champ, but he got cocky. He thought he had Joe Louis, beat. So he penned that you can run but you can't hide, and they all use it. How about the other guy? Oh, good God Almighty! I should have wrote these things down. Anyway, armored cars and tanks and guns came to take away our son, and every man will stand behind the men behind the wire. Through the little streets of Belfast in the dark of early morn, British soldiers came marauding, wrecking little homes was gone. Endless cheer, the crying children, dragging fathers from their beds, beating sons while helpless mothers watched the blow from their heads. Armored cars and tanks and guns came to take away our son, and everyone will stand behind the men behind the wire. Now I thought of it. It's not over till it's over. Yogi Berra, right? The great baseball player. It's not over till it's over, he said. Of course, they all laughed at him, and now they're using it all the time. For them a judge or jury, or indeed a crime at all. Being Irish means they're guilty, so we're guilty one and all. Round the world the truth will echo, Cromwell's men are here again. England's name again is sullied in the eyes of honest men. Armored cars and tanks and guns came to take away our sons, and every man will stand behind the men behind the wire. Proudly march behind our banner, firmly stand behind our men. We will have them free to help us build a nation once again. All the people stand together, proudly, firmly on their way. Live fear and never falter till the boys are home to stay. Armored cars and tanks and guns came to take away our sons, and every man will stand behind the men behind the wire. I'm going to do that again and see if I can do it right. Armored cars and tanks and guns came to take away our sons, and every man will stand behind the men behind the wire. Through the little streets of Belfast in the dark of early morn, British soldiers came marauding, wrecking little homes with scorn, heedless of the crying children, dragging fathers from their beds, beating sons while helpless mothers watched the blood flow from their heads. Armored cars and tanks and guns came to take away our sons, but every man will stand behind the men behind the wire. Not for them a judge or jury, or indeed a crime at all. Being Irish means they're guilty, so we're guilty one and all. Round the world the truth will echo, Cromwell's men are here again. England's name again is sullied in the eyes of honest men. Armored cars and tanks and guns came to take away our son, but every man will stand behind the men behind the wire. Proudly march behind our banners, firmly stand behind our men. We will have them feel to help us build a nation once again. Onward people, stand together, proudly, firmly on your way. Never fear and never falter till the boys are home to stay. Armored cars and tanks and guns came to take away our sons, and every man will stand behind the men behind the wire. Armored cars and tanks and guns came to take away our sons, and every man will stand behind the men behind the wire. Yeah, folks, the men behind the wire. Good old IRA song. Good rebel song. Yeah. We slow it down a wee bit and we'll take you to County Longford. My native town, Drumlish. Yeah, this was a good old waltz. All the lads and lassies when we used to meet in the halls in the early days in America, when I came here in 1954, they were all Irish dance halls. Well, we were too young to go to a pub anyway. I think the drinking age was 21 at the time. But again, I'm not 100% sure of that. But we went to dance halls where there was, they had the bars in the dance hall, but it was all about playing music and dancing, and of course the foxtrot, the waltz, the tango, things like that's what they did there, you know. So here was one that everybody wants to start this one. The first couple of notes, oh, the boys, but you know what they had in them days too? They done away with that shortly after I came here. They had the men on one side of the room and the women on the other. And these were big, large dance halls. And the men would race across the room to get the woman that in his head, he was looking from the other side. Oh, the next time a waltz comes up, I'm going to go and get her. You know, that sort of way. Yeah. And, you know, when at the time, it looked so normal. You know, because that's what they'd done all the time. But if you saw that today, you'd be shocked. I'm talking about a dance hall that hold a lot of people. I would say minimum, maybe like 200 people. I might be exaggerating there too. So imagine, there's 100 women on one side. The dance halls were huge. The floors were massive. You know, like probably as big as my first floor, of kitchen, everything thrown in. There would be maybe a good 50 feet by 50 feet. You know, big. It was, and it was all. And they had the floors so shiny. If you wasn't careful, you go right down. They were slippery like crazy. And they'd start across the room, and many of them fell. I mean, if you ever saw that, I laugh at this because I remember it. So I did it. Yeah. Oh, I like that girl over there. You have in your mind, and you start across the floor. To go to that, by the time you got there, some guy was faster than you. You know what I mean? This is. So you picked the one next to us, not to make her feel bad, even if she looked like. Well, they all look good. I don't want to say that. They're all dressed up very nicely. They had dresses in them days. Nobody wore shorts or. Dungarees or anything like that. The women always wore dresses, always. And oh yeah, and some of them, they had a hoop in the bottom of the dress that they were huge. They stood out. I don't know if you remember that. The hoop made the dress look so big and massive, and I don't know why they did that, but they did it. And a lot of them wore those hoops in them days. It was the style. Yeah, we used to have a lot of, you know, when I look back on my life, I look back with joy. You know why? Because it was joy. It was fun. Everything was so nice and clean. People weren't vulgar. You know, if you made a curse, you'd probably have to go to church and apologize in public. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, here we go with the Native Town Drumlish. This song... what are we doing here? Okay. The old waltz, and I can visualize it right now. And the big hoops on the bottom of the dresses, you would see, they would go round the floor. Oh, you know, it's too bad people, there was no video in those days. It's such a shame, really. It was on October day, and the rain fell to the ground. I was leaving dear old Ireland, to the US I was bound. My friends and neighbours, they gathered around, good luck on me they wish. And I bid farewell to Longford, my native town Drumlish. My father, as we parted, said, my son, be always true. Be honest and be truthful, whatever you may do. My mother's eyes were filled with tears, and from she stole a kiss. She said, remember Longford and your native town Drumlish. I dreamed I see your valleys green, Loch Allen's lovely shore, and the ancient hills of Street Dromard, where the purple heather grows. I dreamt I saw old Cornel Gren and Granard and Killoo, way down in our sleepy valleys and the moors of Shannon flow. Someday I will return again to dear old Erin shore, and I'll bid adieu to America, my rambling days are o'er. My friends will greet me with a smile and my mother with a kiss, and I'll end my days in Longford and my native town Drumlish, and I'll end my days in Longford and my native town Drumlish. Yeah, my native town Drumlish. John Baxter here. This is a song, American folk song, goes back to the vaudeville days. That's even before my time, the 1920s. Good Lord. Yeah, folks. I'm looking over a four-leaf clover. I'm looking over a four-leaf clover that I overlooked before. One is for sunshine, the second is rain. Third are the roses that grow in the lane. There is no use explaining the one remaining. There's somebody I adore. I'm looking over a four-leaf clover that I overlooked before. I'm looking over a four-leaf clover that I overlooked before. One is for sunshine, the second is rain, and third are the roses that bloom in the lane. There is no use explaining the one remaining is somebody I adore. I'm looking over a four-leaf clover that I overlooked before. It's a very short song, right? A lot of American songs are very short. Well, they don't tell much of a story, but some of them do. Now here is a song, an Irish song, is just the opposite. It's a long story that tells a very nice story, but a very sad story. Here's the way it goes, folks. It's called The Streets of New York, but it's an Irish song. It'll all come out in the song. I was 18 years old when I went down to Dublin with a fistful of money and the cart-loaded reams. Take your time, said me father, stop rushing like hell and remember, all's not what it seems to be. For there's fellas that would cut you for the coat on your back or the watch that you got from your mother. So take care, me old buckle, and mind yourself well, and will you give this wee note to me brother? At the time Uncle Benji was a policeman in Brooklyn, and my father, the youngest, looked after the farm. When a phone call from America said send the lad over, and the old fella said sure it wouldn't do any harm. Well, I spent my life working this dirty old crown for a few pints of port and a smell of the pound. Maybe there's something you can learn overseas. You can send it all home, make it easy on me. Well, I landed at Kennedy, and a big yellow taxi carried me and me bags through the streets and the rain. Well, my poor heart was thumping around with excitement, and I hardly even heard what the driver was saying. We came into Shore Parkway to the flatlands of Brooklyn, to my uncle's apartment on East 53rd. I was feeling so happy, I was humming a song, and I sang "You're as free as a bird." Well, to shorten the story, I found out that day Uncle Benji was shot down in an uptown foray. And while I was flying my way to New York, poor Benji was lying in a cold city morgue. Well, I found up the old fella, told him the news. I could tell he could hardly stand up in his shoes. And he wept as he told me, go ahead with the plan, and don't you forget, be a proud Irish man. So I went up to Nellie's beside Fordham Road, and it's there that I learned about lifting the load. But the heaviest thing that I carried that year was the bittersweet thought of my homeland so dear. I went home in December 'cause the old fella died, and to borrow the money from Phil on the side. But all the bright flowers and grass couldn't hide the poor wasted face of me father. I sold out the old farmyard for what it was worth, and into my bag stuck a handful of earth. And I caught me a train, and I caught me a plane, and I found myself back in the US again. It's been 22 years since I set foot in Dublin. The kids all use a spoon and a fork. But I'll never forget the green grass and the rivers as they keep law and order in the streets of New York. La 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 la. La 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 la. Yeah, one of them. I want to go over one verse with you that I. So I went up to Nellie's beside Fordham Road. Nellie's was a bar. See. And it's there that I learned about lifting the load. He never drank before. Lifting the load in Ireland means drinking. That's what lifting the load means. Okay, what else did I say? Nah, basically that was it. So, and then he wound up being a cop in this New York City after all that. So listen, even though his uncle got killed, this happens to be a true story, folks. Got a lot of stories like that that are true, and we do the best we can with them. Yeah. Oh, you know what I'd like to do? I'd like to do one song for you. I wrote this song many years ago, and of course never put it on the computer. Try to remember. I'm writing this letter to whom it concerns. Let the Irish have freedom, a time you have learned. Let the Irish have freedom and peace of mind too. And the eyes of the world are looking on you. So England, get back to the land you belong. And mind your own business and we'll get along. We'll all work together in harmony too. And the eyes of the world are looking on you. For so many years you have ruled on our soil, but the world did not know of your cruel turmoil. Now that it's out in the open you're through, and the eyes of the world are looking on you. So England, get back to the land you belong. And mind your own business and we'll get along. We'll all work together in harmony too. And the eyes of the world are looking on you. America the beautiful, far o'er the wave, land of the free and the home of the brave. We welcome your call, we'll welcome you too. And the eyes of the world are looking on you. So England, get back to the land you belong. And mind your own business and we'll get along. We'll all work together in harmony too. And the eyes of the world are looking on you. And the eyes of the world are looking on you. The eyes of the world are looking on you. Yeah, folks, we try to do the best we can. And now, back to my book. I wrote this book 10 years ago. And it's about growing up on the farm in Ireland in the 40s and 50s, a way of life lost and gone forever. It's all about how we lived, how we took care of the cattle, how we managed on a small farm. My mother and 6 children. My father had died when I was 2 years old. And she managed to work that farm. There was no welfare in them days. Oh, wait. Welfare? You were on your own, baby. But we did have a farm. Now, all we had to do was plant the seed and it grew all by itself. And there's plenty of rain in Ireland. It's a beautiful place to grow vegetables, potatoes, carrots, beans, wheat, corn. You name it, we grew it. We had it, and besides that, we had a little garden. We call it the cabbage garden, where we grew a lot of cabbage. So there was a lot of potatoes and cabbage, and there was never too much meat. Basically the Irish are vegetarians, believe it or not. They do it. That's why they're one of the oldest living races in the world. They live to be very old. Thank God. Look at me. I'm still singing at 83 years old. Where do you find that? Not too often, right? I hope I see it more often. But anyway, this is my book. It's called From the Mountains of Munlaw. Our farm was at the bottom of the mountain, sheltered by the winter storms. It was so beautiful, in the winter even. It was like you were out in the open, but yet you had a big wall right behind you, where the wind was blowing against all the time. Well, that's where we lived, right at the bottom of that mountain. And we had turf land on top of the mountain. We used to go up there and cut the turf. It's all in the book, folks. No running water in the house, no toilets. We go out behind the barn. Look, it's shameful when you think of it, but at the time it was not shameful because that's what they done. That was their culture. And it's all in the book here. John Baxter from the mountains of Munlaw. John Joe Baxter. John Joe Baxter. See, when I came to America, we dropped one name. We always used the initial though, but everywhere I go, I'm called John Baxter in America. But if I went back to, there's John Joe Baxter. You know, the people never forget, or the grandparents or whatever. But anyway, folks, you are the best because you listen to me. Oh, incidentally, I wasn't holding this upside down like Donald Trump with the Bible, I hope, right? Thank you. All right. Stop with the kidding, Baxter, and get on with it here. You have time for another song at least, so get going, lad. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna end up with American. I call it a folk song. It's Glenn Campbell. What is the name of it? Rhinestone Cowboy. Yeah, I have Ricky here on the steel guitar. It sounds good. He covers up for me. Okay. And I go on, I put on my cheater. That's when you're not a good guitar player and you can put this on different frets and it changes the key for you automatic. Although I do see good guitar players using them too, so it ain't that bad. I've been walking these streets so long, singing the same old song. I know every crack in this dirty sidewalks of Broadway, where hustle's the name of the game, and nice guys get washed away like the snow and the rain. Could be a load of compromising on the road to my horizon, but I'm gonna be where the lights are shining on me, like a rhinestone cowboy riding out on a horse in a star-spangled rodeo. Rhinestone cowboy, getting cards and letters from people I don't even know, and offers coming over the phone. Well, I really don't mind the rain, and a smile can hide all the pain, but you're down when you're riding the train that's taking the long way. And I dream of the things I'll do with a subway token and a dollar stuffed inside my shoe. There'll be a load of compromising on the road to my horizon, but I'm gonna be where the lights are shining on me. Rhinestone cowboy, getting cards and letters from people I don't even know, and offers coming over the phone. Rhinestone cowboy riding out on a horse on a star-spangled rodeo. Rhinestone cowboy getting cards and letters from people I don't even know. Rhinestone cowboy riding out on a horse on a star-spangled rodeo. You are the best to be tuning in to me every day. I thank you very much, folks. I really do. I appreciate you more than you realize. You are making me. I am not doing anything for you. I try to entertain you. But believe me, you are doing me 10 times more than I'm doing for you. Thank you very much. And I will see you tomorrow at 12 o'clock. And now I'm going to turn myself off. How is that? If I can. Wait a minute. Oh boy, I changed it before and it... Come on, John. Oh boy. Maybe it should stay that way.